You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and just like any other time, we have another special guest for y'all. Today, we have a true honor talking to Mónica Esgueva. She has an amazing website, monicaesgueva.com, and we're going to be talking about her book, The 7 Levels of Wisdom. She has 16 plus years of experience helping individuals transform their lives. She's the author of 9 books, and she's a TEDx speaker, an international keynote speaker. And I can go on and on and on, but I just want to first say thank you to you, Mónica, spending time with us today. How are you doing?
I'm very good, very happy to be here with you today.
I appreciate your time. You have a very long resume. I could probably spend 25 minutes on it, but I had to get right into this. Let's talk about a little bit about your life before we talk about your book, because you've been able to live in multiple countries. Kind of tell us about your rich experience, not just being a leader, but culturally having that rich experience as well.
Well, I guess I was always very international. I felt that link with other cultures, countries, languages, and I married a French guy, and I am currently married to a Chilean. So I guess I have lived through that very much in my life. And at some point, I even had the calling to go to the East. I was having a very good job, a very good life back in Paris when I was living at the time. And funnily enough, I had all those things that make our life comfortable and even well off, many things that people aspire to, but I felt deeply unfulfilled. So I went to do some research on the Tibetans in exile in India, in the north of India. And I went there and it was kind of a life-changing experience, because I realized that those people, the Tibetan lamas I studied with and the Dalai Lama, were really teaching things that were already in my heart. So when I went back to my life, my former life at that time in Paris, I realized I could not go on the same way. I realized I had to make changes, big changes, because I was not contributing to a better world. And that was what my soul wanted. So I made a big change in my life. I decided to leave everything behind. And I started from scratch. I divorced. I left all my belongings, my money, everything, my work, everything, and started from scratch, because I wanted to do something, even though I didn't know at the time what to do, but I knew I wanted to be of benefit to the world, and I felt I was not doing that before.
When you started writing your book that we're going to be discussing, The 7 Levels of Wisdom, what was the process like for you to, as an author, to work on this project? Because we know it takes time and a lot of dedication to get it right. So what was your process like?
Well, this is my 9th book. So I have already written quite a few books before, but this was when I received inspiration to write this book. I was traveling in Mongolia. I was actually in the Gobi Desert, and this is a very particular place with a very high energy. So I received this inspiration that I had to write this book, and it had to be written in English. So it would really reach people all over the world, because it was going to be something very spiritual, and at the same time, something that people could understand in the East, in the West, and everywhere, because our mindset is very different from the mindset of people in the East. And in our modern life, we do need to go beyond the emotions. We need to stop being automats, to be reactive, and have a life with meaning. And I think this is very urgent nowadays. So I felt this calling to write this book.
When you see how there's always some kind of obstacle for people when they're trying to make progress through different levels, in their lives. What do you believe helps them overcome these obstacles? And how does your book kind of help them make that breakthrough?
Well, I think it's first of all, it's a matter of being aware of yourself, being aware of what is going on, and wanting to awake from the matrix. We are in this matrix where we go through the motions, and we run very quickly. We feel this pressure to do things, as many things as possible, and I think more and more we don't have any purpose. Most people don't have any purpose in their lives. They feel very empty. And we can see that the formula that we have been using so far doesn't work. When we see the high percentages of people suffering from depression, from anxiety, from so many mental and emotional problems. So when we have been using the formula and it doesn't work, it doesn't take you where you want to be, then it means that you need to change. You need to do something differently. And I think this is what I want to propose, what I want to offer is a new way of doing things, so a new way of looking at things, and maybe change this obsession that we have in our society with material achievements and success, and changing for something that is deeper and is more fulfilling, because clearly what we have been doing so far is not working.
Once again, you listen on Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today. Go to her website, monicaesgueva.com. We're talking about her book, The 7 Levels of Wisdom. When you yourself, we said how you have such a rich experience traveling around the world and also be a citizen around the world. You also speak fluently in 4 different languages. How is it, or why is it so important for people to really experience life versus go through the routine? Because it's real easy to just kind of wake up and let's see what happens. But for someone like yourself, you didn't do that. You really took intention to experience life to the fullest extent.
Well, I think I had an inner impulse to become a better version of myself. I had this trigger within me that will push me to be a better version of myself, and not only that, also be a contributor to the wellness of the world, to be of benefit, not just doing things for the sake of success or possession or accumulation or pleasures, but I wanted to do something that will leave a trace in the world, a positive impact. In a way, I have always this motivation of leaving the world better than I received it when I was born here. So that's, for me, that was the main motivation. And for that, I needed to understand how other human beings are and act and what they do believe, and in a way, establishing a brotherhood with all human beings. So I don't feel that my family is just my blood family, but the whole humanity is my family. So I wanted to experience that. And that is what pushed me to travel around the world. I have traveled to 110 countries and lived in quite a few.
Yeah, also in your book, you have a self-assessment tool for our audience. Kind of go through that a little bit, and how can that also be another resource tool for the reader?
Yes, I wanted to provide a map, because I think so many times people lack like the big picture. So we live our little lives so close in our own routines, as you were saying, and we don't think that there is a map, that there is a ladder that we need to go through. And there are steps and stages that will make us go higher and higher and feel better and better and have a more positive impact in the world. So what I described in my book is the 7 levels of wisdom or consciousness. And it starts with the conformist, the expert, and the achiever. So the conformist is a person that wants to be accepted by the group, that is not interested in standing out, doesn't want to lose face, and wants to take the rules without questioning. And we see a lot of people around us like that. The next level is being an expert. And experts like to be admired. They really want to stand out from the crowd. They see themselves as superior, and they criticize all those that do not think like them. Then the next step is the achiever. And we see that this is the highest adult development that we think there is in our society. This is what society promotes. This is what society supports and rewards. And it seems that this is what we all have to aspire to be and become. But the problem is that it's based on comparison, on competition, on the need to win and to excel. And we have seen that this is not good for humanity as a whole and for the planet, because when you get obsessed with your own winning, then you see everybody else and the planet as a means to an end. So you will just be going forward because you want to maximize your benefit, but you don't take into account others. And I think this is very dangerous. And we are seeing that the consequences of that in our society and the planet right nowadays. So what I propose is that we continue our development. We don't stay here. We don't take becoming an achiever as the maximum aspiration and obsession, but we go beyond that to the post-conventional levels, where we can become independent, where we can start questioning our rules, the norms, what everybody accepts. Maybe this is not because everybody accepts something means that it's true or is beneficial or is wholesome. Then it's important to be the best version of yourself, to try to help others become the best versions as well. It's important to be interested in being focused not just on the final goal, but also on the process, on the path, and being more present with whatever is happening now, instead of being just obsessed with the past and the regrets and whatever happened in the past and the future, fearful of what may come or trying to plan for everything. And then we miss the present. We miss this moment. This is the only moment that we have. So this is another thing to work on. And I think it's also important to, as you advance in that level of consciousness, as you expand your level of consciousness, you also realize that there is a direct relationship to be cultivated with the divine, because we are divine beings living a human experience as well.
Once again, you listen on Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest, Mónica Esgueva. You can go to her website, monicaesgueva.com. Talking about her book, The 7 Levels of Wisdom. I like what you said about looking at the bigger picture, because, yes, people can get caught up into the winning mindset of things to where they overlook that is more to that. It's more than just getting the wins. It's like you're saying moments ago about helping other people realize that not only can they win, but they can grow their inner self as well. And that is the best part of being able to be in the position to win, because it's one thing to be striving for success, but it's another thing when you see it more like I'm serving others based on my previous experiences to better enrich people's lives. You can never get paid enough for helping someone realize their potential, or let that light bulb cut on in their head, so that way they can realize, when I get up today, based on Monica's experience, I can approach life challenges differently, because it's easy to have the self-pity, like, woe is me, but that's part of winning as well. unleashing people to find their full potential and take those actions.
Yes, and I think it's important that we leave behind the victimhood mentality and the survival paradigm, because I think most people are living in that survival paradigm where they think their wellness and their well-being is always threatened. There's always a hidden danger, so they need to be on an alert all the time. They need to be prepared, to be able to defend themselves. They think that everybody's in competition with them. They believe in scarcity. They believe that this is wolf kind of world. And that makes your life really sad and very shallow. And I think once you abandon that paradigm, then you are willing and open to grow. And it's only when you grow that you find peace of mind. Otherwise, you are going to be always in a constant state of stress and anxiety. And this is very detrimental to your mental, emotional, and physical health, if anything else, if nothing else.
When you look at your own life, you spend a lot of your time with your journey to help people to use self-development as a way to not just learn from these different levels of wisdom, but to apply them. You personally, how have you been able to remain inspired to do this? Because it's not, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, but that's why you're here. You're sharing your experience of your wisdom. So what are some of the things you felt kept you motivated to keep pressing forward?
Well, in my case, I found a lot of inspiration in the writings of spiritual people, mystics, and the sort, people that have really taken the time to live some heritage that is profound. And I think we all can learn a lot from them. So that has always been a source of inspiration for me since I was a child. I was always interested in psychology and spirituality and transcendence, and I wanted to understand why we are here and what is the meaning of life and what is the purpose of our life here. So understanding that the earth is like a school and we come here to develop, to learn lessons, has really changed my life, because then every single happening, every single circumstance is an opportunity for growth. Instead of saying, okay, this is a drama, or this is just very unfair. Well, then it changes. You change your filter through which you look at the world, and you look at yourself, and you look at others. So everything becomes interesting in a way. Life is not boring anymore. It's like an adventure, and you are always open for the next happening, the next thing, because the next encounter, because there's something to learn there. There's something that will give you the opportunity to work on yourself, on your virtues, whether it is patience or resilience, or just becoming deeper or kinder, and every single thing that happens in our lives give us this opportunity, this chance to go beyond ourselves, to become bigger, more expansive, deeper. And that makes life very interesting. It's never boring, It's only boring when you think that you have to go through the motions and you are in a state of slumber. And then, nothing is interesting because you feel empty inside. And then you look for things outside to fill your emptiness, but nothing external can fill your emptiness. So for me, it's a constant motivation of being of help and becoming a better human being.
Someone watching us and listening to this interview say they are just getting started their spiritual journey. With the framework that you've been able to do with your book, what's the best way that they can begin the process, especially if they're a beginner?
Thank you for the question. I think it's important to start doing some counseling and some healing, psychotherapy, or whatever form of healing you think is best for you. But it's important to heal your wounds, because if you don't, you will drag them today, and you will be acting out on the things that you didn't heal in your past. So I think it's a very good starting point. Studying spirituality, psychology, philosophy, but mostly things that will help you transcend yourself is always very helpful. Working on humility, remaining humble is very important, because you will realize that you don't know everything, and then you will be open to question yourself, to question everything, to keep growing. If you think you know it all and you already had your views and your beliefs and you are right, then you are going to hinder your own expansion of consciousness. I think in my life, volunteering has been paramount. I spent 6 months volunteering in Africa, in an orphanage, and teaching at a school, and that was life-changing. It makes you realize that we have so many things that we take for granted, and so many people in the world will never have them in the whole life. So it makes you grateful. It makes you very appreciative of what you have. I also volunteered 10 years with children with cancer in a hospital. And it also helps you put things into perspective, and realize that death is very close to all of us. It doesn't really matter how old you are or how young you are. It's always around the corner. So it really helps putting in perspective what you are doing today, because when you are in your deathbed, it's too late to change things. And I have seen so many people, because I also volunteer with in a hospice, people regretting things that they can no longer change. There's like, okay, I wish I'd spend more time with my family. I wish I followed my passion and I didn't. I wish I was kinder, more forgiving, and now it's too late. So many things that we think are not important today, but they are of paramount importance, because when you live this body, when you live this life, you cannot take anything with you, not a single achievement, not your status, not the possessions that you accumulated, nothing except the love you gave and the wisdom you achieved. So that makes you put things into perspective and focus today on what really matters. Don't waste your life. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy, because most of the things that we think are crucial today are just secondary at best.
Once again, listen to Refocused Radio and watching this online, talking to our special guest, Mónica Esgueva. Go to her website, monicaesgueva.com. We've been discussing the book, The 7 Levels of Wisdom. I like what you said about putting into perspective what you are doing today. And earlier you mentioned about being in the moment, being present. I couldn't agree even more with that, because I think, if anything, it makes the whole conversation full circle. If we skip the moment, it doesn't come back. And that's what's so powerful about not just being present, but also taking action. I mean, look at you. 4 different languages fluently that you speak, travel the world. You know what it's like to experience life to the fullest, because like you said, you even volunteer your time to give back. And I think that's the whole picture of life, is when we really use the time we have to make the most of it. Because if we don't do it now, I can't emphasize that more. If we don't do it now, later may never come.
Absolutely. We only have the now, and then comparing to what we would like to have in the future is useless. So it's best to focus in this very moment where we already have everything we need, and not to fool ourselves thinking that we need something that we don't have right now. And that will just be a complete waste of time and energy. This is the moment to take action. This is the moment to focus on what really matters and give meaning to your life. Don't live like an automat, because at some point it will be too late. and then you can do nothing about it.
And real quick, one more question I have for you, Monica, and that is, as people are listening to this, I hope they take action, go to your website and get your book and all the other books you've written. If you had one thing to encourage somebody to say, you know what, if you feel like you plateaued or you feel like you just in this, rut, like you're in the trenches trying to survive or just whatever your situation is, what would you say to encourage someone to say, you know what, it's not over. All you got to do is just kind of look up and say, you know what, I'm not quitting. I'm not going to give up. What would you say to that person?
Well, I think it's maybe not easy to give an advice that will serve everyone. But what I can say is, one, focus on this very moment. This very moment you are alive. You have everything you need to be alive. It's a miracle that you are alive. So count your blessings. I'm sure you have some blessings that you are not taking into account. There are always things that we need to be appreciative for, whether it's a small thing or a big thing. There are many, many things, as I said before, that many people on this very planet will never, ever see or have. And we think that this is not important. Don't take anything for granted. And 3, see what is the opportunity here in this situation for you to grow, to become a better person. I'm sure that this is allowing you to learn something. This experience you are having, these circumstances are allowing you to learn something that can be very useful for you as a person, as a soul, as a human being going through these experiences that we call life. And when you look at whatever is happening from that perspective, then whatever is happening today at this very moment is not useless. It can be very useful.
Once again, you've been listening to I Am Refocused Radio and watching this online, talking to our special guest, Mónica Esgueva. Go to our website, monicaesgueva.com. It's that time again. I always hate saying goodbye to my guests, but like always, I want to say to you, Mónica, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here with you.